Hey everyone, this is Kieran from the Musculoskeletal Clinic. Today's exercises, we're going to cover two, are about building flexion and extension through your spine. It's going to be a little more biased to the thoracic spine, just because that's what we're interested in. But it can also be useful for getting some lower flexion, some lumbar spine, lower spinal flexion. So this is your lower back, kind of in this area. But so we're going to be focusing a little bit more up here. So if you feel like you've tried some of our other exercises and you're ready to progress onto something else, or you're just looking for something to see if it's useful to build flexibility through this area, then give this a go. If you're interested in kind of, more of the biomechanics, kinematics, as in like how the movement looks and then what's happening to make that movement look that way, then definitely dive into some of our other videos. In the earlier stages ones where I think, things like I say, like first step, second step, you're going to find more of those details. Just to save a little bit of time on here and we're not repeating the same information, but with spinal extension and flexion, there's a lot of potential for movement here. You've got a whole bunch of vertebrae and they all attach, above and below to each other. And then you've also got your rib cage, which adds to its ability to move as well. And that can be influenced by breathing mechanics. And then, we think even more, like another layer of that, well, what can influence breathing mechanics? And it could be anything from biomechanical issues to trauma, to rib fractures, to, pregnancy, there's a distension here and it's going to change the mechanics, pain, abdominal pain, even up into things like psychosocial stuff. So anxiety disorders, depressive disorders, we're going to be changing our breathing mechanics versus someone that's maybe, a little bit overly confident. You might see them stay up here a lot and maybe have difficulties with exhalation, which can be useful for relaxation as well. So it's not to say, again, bad or worse, or good or right or wrong. It's just like, hey, there's different ways that you can breathe. There's different ways you can move your spine. And we just want to open that toolkit and give you the options to be able to do the things that are meaningful to you. And so if your life is say this or whatever shape, and the tasks you do require certain abilities, then you want to be able to physically do those things, right? But that's going to be different to someone else. So we can't really compare. What this does is it just opens up some awareness into maybe some areas that are lacking for you, right? So if we do the spinal extension portion first, hopefully the mic doesn't get a little bit crushed here. If there's obviously issues, I'll be listening after, but write some comments and maybe I can clarify. I'll just adjust the mic actually. That might help. Okay, fingers crossed. So the ball, this could be a pillow, sleeping bag, a couch pillow kind of thing, just anything that you can hug, okay? So I'm going to hug like this. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to lock up the rib cage a little bit into this flexion and a little bit of kyphosis through the thoracic spine. What it's going to allow me though to have is a fixation point. And so as I'm going to bend backwards, and I'm working on extension, it's like, well, that's counterintuitive, but I'm working on extension by lifting the ball with my chest. So I'm pushing my sternum here into the ball and I'm trying to lift the ball up to the sky. By doing that movement, my spinal muscles in my back have to kick in. And you're going to get some lower back stuff as well, but you can see hopefully on the angle here that my shoulders aren't actually, it's not like I'm going back this way. That's more lumbar, lower back extension down here. That's okay, but not the goal of what we're trying to do. I'm trying to lift the ball up like that, all right? And so now I can feel muscles much higher up doing some work. So that means that wherever the ball is where I'm going to be doing the most of the work. So obviously I've got the mic in the way, so the higher I would go, the higher up I'd get in my spine. And you might get a smaller object at some point if sort of chin gets in the way. But this might hit the mic, but if I come up nice and high and again that hug just to keep it sturdy, and then I'm trying to lift the ball up. Now what can help a little bit, or what's coupled here, is rotation as well. So I'm going to extend now and I'm going to rotate to the right here. And so I'm getting a lot more extension and rotation in the right side of my spine. And then if I go this way and turn left, now I'm getting the left side. And you might find that one side's harder for you. How could you test? I could stay nice and straight and twist and twist. And I'd want to see that I can get like 45, 50 degrees from the midline. So from here, be able to go about halfway or just past. So I can kind of get that, and I can get that. If one side's limited, then do the extension and the rotation, come back, do a few reps, you can do them together, extension, rotation, and then you could just also stay there as well and breathe. Thinking about lifting that ball up, okay? So play around with that, put the ball where you want to create most of the movement, or where you feel difficulty. Where you feel difficulty might be where it's hardest to breathe as well. So got some ideas to play with there. For the flexion, I'm going to use the ball as something to crush. So I'm going to put it in a similar spot, and it's going to be a little less specific because we need something big enough to be able to contact with our thighs. But if I put it where we started with, around that sternum, and I'm going to go down to my thighs, all right? So I'm down to here. Now I'm touching my thigh. I could go further because that's my spinal flexion. So I might need something a bit smaller, but for anyone else trying this, you might find that you can't get as far, or maybe you go further than me, and so you have to adjust accordingly, right? But I'm going to go here, and what I'm going to do is actually try and crush it. So my arms are not involved. I'm just stopping the ball from being spit out that way. But right here, I'm pushing this, my breastbone, into the ball. I'm trying to squish it into my legs, okay? And I'm gonna feel my tummy kicking a lot. As always, I wanna be able to create tension with my torso muscles, but still breathe at the same time. How effortful is this for me? Do I feel like my neck's tensed up? Or can I still crush and like look freely? I've got that independence, I can dual task. Or are my legs tensed up and my toes curling, or can they be relaxed and let my tummy do all the crushing work, right? And just breathe. Okay. For that rotation component, similar. I'm going to go sideways and down. So I'm going to bring the ball over and down. Hold it there, and then try and crush it. Again, I don't want to feel like my neck is doing too much. There was my lat kicking in a little bit, so my right arm was like trying to help push the ball down. So I might just rest it there so it can't help as much. And this means my rib cage and my abdominal muscles have to work a little bit harder. So you can see how my focus is kind of getting taken away, which means this side is a little bit trickier for me. Versus if I come this side, given that the middle is doable, yeah, so this side's just a lot easier for me. I don't have to focus as much. So middle's good, left is good. When I go to the right, it takes a little more of my attention. It's harder to kind of do many things at once. So I'd spend some time over here, and I take my arm out of it so it doesn't help. And relax my chin so my neck's not tensed. And just crush, crush, crush. Still breathe. Nice. So these are nice, good size. Could be anything though. Adjust to what you need. When you're doing the extension thing, it's nice to have a little bit of weight. That's about 5 kilos. The weight gives you feedback, something to press against, something to relate to. And the extension, we need something that we can crush. The flexion, we need something that we can crush. So as always, give it a go and see if this helps out with getting some of the movement that you're sort of craving in your activities. Yeah, leave us some comments if you find these interesting or useful, or you need some clarity on anything. If you like this video, then please hit like below. Otherwise, to check out more of our content in the future, you can subscribe to our channel by clicking our logo over here. And to check out our latest video, click up here.